Welcome. Today we're going to tackle a topic that really affects all of us as we or our loved ones get older: mental wellness. And we're going to look at this not as some story of inevitable decline, but as a crucial, vibrant part of healthy aging that we can actually actively shape.
Okay, let's dive right in with a pretty significant number. Research shows that as many as 1 in 5 older adults experience mental health concerns. That's a huge part of the population, which really just highlights how common this is. So this brings up a question I think a lot of us might have. Aren't feelings of sadness or anxiety just a normal part of getting older? It's a really common belief. But you know what? The research is crystal clear. The answer is a resounding no.
And this is just such a crucial point to understand. Mental health conditions like depression are not an inevitable part of aging. You've got to think of them as treatable health conditions, just like diabetes or arthritis. And here's the most hopeful part. With the right approach, an incredible 80% of cases can be successfully treated. That's amazing. But here's where we run into a major challenge. Even though these conditions affect about 20% of older adults, a staggering 63% of them don't get the care they need. This creates this huge treatment gap, and it's often because of things like stigma or just not recognizing the signs. So let's explore why that happens. Right, so a big reason for that treatment gap is that the signs of mental health issues in older adults can be kind of tricky to spot. Both older adults and sometimes even their doctors might just chalk up symptoms to the natural aging process or other health problems. Someone might think their fatigue is from a physical illness when it could actually be a sign of depression. And this confusion, well, it can unfortunately delay getting the right diagnosis and the right help. So let's look at how these two very common conditions can show up. For depression, it isn't always about sadness. Sometimes it's a loss of pleasure in activities you used to love, or even unexplained physical aches. With anxiety, it could show up as constant worry, a racing heart, or suddenly avoiding social events. It's also really important to know that these two can often happen at the same time.
So what can you look for in yourself or a loved one? Well, keep an eye out for these general changes. Things like ongoing headaches, pulling away from friends and family, or just a persistent feeling of being on edge. All of these can be signals that it's time to talk to a doctor.
Recognizing the signs is that first big step, but now let's focus on the solutions. Because the great news is there is so much hope, and getting help is a lot more straightforward than you might think.
And get this, did you know there are specialists for this? A geriatric psychiatrist is an expert who really understands the unique interplay between aging, physical health, and mental well-being. They can help navigate the very specific challenges that come with this stage of life.
Seeking help doesn't have to be this overwhelming, scary thing. It really just starts with a simple conversation with your primary care physician. They can help figure out if your symptoms are related to a mental health condition, a medical one, or maybe both, and then guide you toward the right specialists and the right treatment options.
And once you have a diagnosis, there's a whole toolbox of effective options. Medication, like antidepressants, can help balance brain chemistry, so that's addressing the biological side. At the same time, therapies like CBT work to reshape the thinking patterns that fuel anxiety and fear. It's this two-pronged approach, tackling both the biology and the behavior, that often makes a combination so effective.
Okay, so beyond clinical treatment, what can we do every single day to build a foundation for long-term mental wellness? For that, we can actually look to some of the happiest, healthiest people on the planet.
So researchers have identified these 5 blue zones, places like Okinawa in Japan and Sardinia in Italy, where people don't just live longer, they live better. They have fewer chronic diseases and, really importantly, higher rates of happiness and well-being, well into their 90s and beyond.
And here's the core philosophy behind the blue zones. Their secret isn't about some superhuman willpower. No, it's about engineering their environment, what researchers call their life radius, to make the healthy choice the easy, almost automatic choice.
So what are their secrets? Well, they aren't out there running marathons. They're gardening and walking, which keeps them active. They aren't unrestrictive diets. They just eat wisely with a big focus on plants. And maybe most importantly, they prioritize social connection, and they maintain a sense of purpose. Think about it. These simple habits directly counter some of the biggest risk factors for mental health issues in later life: inactivity, poor nutrition, and especially loneliness.
Okay, so how do we put all of this together for ourselves? Let's look at how we can combine the best of modern medicine with these timeless lifestyle lessons for a really powerful approach to wellness.
So here they are, 2 paths, working hand in hand.
You've got professional support, which is there when you need it to get a diagnosis and treatment. And then you have lifestyle support, which is what you build every single day, staying active, eating well, and nurturing your connections with other people. They aren't separate things. They're a powerful combination.
Ultimately, this is the main takeaway here. Thriving as we age is an active, ongoing journey. It's not some destination you just arrive at. It's about having the courage to seek professional help when you need it and the wisdom to build small, positive choices into every single day.
So I'll leave you with this question. What's one small thing you can do today? Maybe it's scheduling that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Maybe it's just calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Or hey, maybe it's just taking a walk outside. Whatever it is, that one small step, that's the beginning of a brighter chapter.